All right, guys, we're back for Game 2, State of Origin. I guess we'll quickly touch on what happened in the first game. It was a pretty dominant performance from Queensland, I thought. Obviously, there was a bit of controversy there with the Ashley Klein sending off KP. Whichever side of the fence you sit on with that one. Personally, I thought it was a sin bin. I didn't think it was a send-off. People are comparing it to the Suoliti hit from a couple of years ago. I think it's nowhere even near that sort of ballpark, but obviously that's the game these days, and we've moved on from that one. But just thought I'd touch on it. Hopefully for this game we have the full complement of players for the whole game, and no controversial calls. May the best team win. But anyway, and I guess that's a perfect segue into some of the news that's been dominating at the moment, and that's been the news that's come out about Ashley Klein with the gambling. At this stage, it doesn't appear that he's been betting on rugby league games, but obviously it's not a good look for the NRL, and referees have a tough job. We know that. But, I think at some point there may be a bit of a decision where, that players and referees won't be able to do any sports betting at all. Obviously that's just for, horse racing and dog racing and stuff like that. But, it's certainly not something that you want to have your top referee, who's already under enough scrutiny, going into a game, and then if there's a bad call, everyone's going to quickly jump to that. So anyway, let's hope he's in a good headspace and we get a nice fair game. I mean, I must admit, up until that point in the first game, I thought he'd refereed a pretty good game, but yeah, personally I just couldn't understand how the bunker was saying, we're trying to tell him that it wasn't a send-off, and then he just, decided to send him off. So, but anyway, we won't go back there. That's been done and dusted for a minute, so we'll move on from that. All right, well, let's get into this game. Obviously, yeah, we've got Mitchell Moses. He's back in the side. I guess the big thing is he going to be a bit underdone? As a Para fan, I'd probably just prefer he's sitting out altogether. But we gotta roll with it. And he's an elite player, so he deserves his spot in the side. You got Reece Walsh coming back into the fray. I think that's going to be awesome, because I just think that keeps the Blues on their toes. That's scary prospect, having someone like that sitting on the bench. And if you're a middle forward and at some point he gets injected into the game at the back end of a half or something, that's scary prospect. But obviously questions over his form at the moment, but he's an elite player, and if he's called on, I think he'll do the job. So yeah, you've obviously got that. There's been an injury, Casey McLean going out. You've got Mark Nwanganita-Wase coming in for him. He's been talked about. Like, he's obviously going to rugby next year. But that's a pretty big in, and I definitely think he'll probably be scoring a try at some stage too. So his strike rates, it's pretty mind blowing. So overall, not a heap of changes from the original, the original game one sides. There's been a lot made about Ola Kuatu missing out on his spot. I kind of can see what people are saying, but if you go back to the first game, he did make quite a few errors, and even as a Queenslander, I was just like, give him the ball, because he's going to drop it, or he's going to do a sus play the ball. Like, that's how I felt watching the game anyway. So, I do understand he's a damaging back rower, but at this level, you know, the ball is gold, and you've got to hang on to it. And yeah, I can see why they've made the change. I know Loz cops a lot of stick at times from people, but with that one, I can see why they've gone for a bit of maybe a safer option there. And you know, obviously in that game, Ethan Strange played really well. He's gone back to the bench. There's a bit of talk going on that he's going to come on as an edge player, come on in the second row. That's a bit strange, but you know, pun intended. But yeah, he's certainly a dangerous player in general. Wherever he gets injected, he's just a bit of a natural footy player. You know, much probably like Munster in the Queensland side. You know, you just got to give him the ball, and you know, his running game's dangerous. So we've seen that in the first game. Like he was easily, for mine, he was the Blues' best player. Like, I know Nathan Cleary had some big moments, but I think if you didn't have Ethan Strange in that side, the Blues weren't coming back, regardless of the man down. So yeah, I mean, looking at it, I thought Sammy Walker, he had a great game in the first game. You know, hopefully he can reach those heights again. You know, a lot of pressure on Teddy. I know he come up with a match winner, but probably wasn't his best game. And I also thought Katoni Staggs, as much as he's a player I really like, I think that there's a little bit of joy that KP was getting there, where he was, you know, he was sort of going down that side, and he had Staggs sort of slipping and, you know, turning his shoulders in, and you know, there could be a bit of joy there if they keep attacking that. So yeah, overall, I don't think in terms of the sides, I can't really see. There's not a great deal of difference there. You know, you got Moses obviously coming in. You know, you've got Walshy in there. Big ups to Finafuiaki. He gets his start off the bench, I believe, and he's a player that I actually had in my team for the first game. I think he's just such a damaging edge runner. You know, runs hard, tackles hard, does his job. I just like what he brings. He's just, you know, he's very dynamic ball runner, and yeah, I just really like what he brings to the team. So yeah, well, anyway, I'm gonna, same as the first game, have a bit of a play. I'm gonna stick with me. I'm gonna stick with me man of the match. So we'll just get straight into that. I'm just Harry Grant. Yeah, can't go off him. I thought he had a pretty good game in the first game. Anyway, he was causing all sorts of havoc out of dummy half there. So you know, I'm gonna stick on him, double or nothing. And for my first try scorers, I was sort of tossing up on this one. For New South Wales, I'm gonna go Mark Nwanganitawase. I think Marky Mark, he's just you know, you can't go past him in the try scoring stakes. So and for Queensland, that's it's really got me, this one, but you know, I'm gonna go something a bit different, and I'm gonna go Big Tino. You know, he's you know, condolences to him. His father passed away during the week. It's a big game for him, obviously. You know, playing under with that sort of stuff going on. So yeah, I'm gonna be on him to hopefully get the first try on the board for the Queenslanders. So yeah, well, that's pretty much a run through. There really isn't too much to touch on with this game. You know, I think everyone's just waiting to see, you know, how does Mitchell Moses come back? You know, do the Queenslanders, they got a bit of extra something to play for there with Tino's dad passing away. We seen what that could do last year. Cameron Munster, you know, like you know, that's what these guys, like, they love this game, and a lot of the time their families, they you know, they grew up, you know, like in rugby league families, and their families are a big part of it too. So So yeah, I'm really hoping that the Queenslanders can get the job done there and send it to a decider. So I'm gonna say for the score, I'm gonna go another tight one. I think it might be Queensland 24-20. Hopefully the Queenslanders can get the job done down there in Melbourne. Yeah, I'm looking forward to a good game. A bit nervous about this one, actually. I didn't sort of have the same amount of nerves. I think it's just, it's that going into the game to do or die. As a Queenslander, it's it's definitely better. Like was definitely at one point in the first game was thinking that it was going to be New South Wales going down there do or die. So this is it's time for them to get the job done, and let's just hope for a good game of footy. All right, guys, enjoy your Origin football.